Meda wasesa watwen amaya kwa aba se de ebeda ye ho amede to wanimu no ene ye baba bedi enkomo se wonim se nyame ya domo a New Patriotic Party ye 31st January 2026 ena omo bekwa koyi omo presidential candidate na ndifo bebre atwetwe omo ti epi enti ene ye nsaka engineer Kobna Ejeyi Ejapon ye presidential candidate hopeful ma New Patriotic Party ewo hasia ye ba be bon komo engineer mema wache mo atena se
Miss Medasi me ba mo studio ha che papa
bibi aboko de
and so me who say obo life
Medasi what the me can to say you look very young obi because na mo ma ban wo position po na wo ho aye fe wo look young say
de bia so ma make nyankopon na ye da na se wi ase se tembia unya akoma pa na unya adwempa madam for doctor we know catch me say umuna we use muscles 45 we say we use 15
they're so easy they're better
say to be obesre na wani beje na udi bone ache
kame ba bebisa say medi wechi we interviews no na ade metie wo kasem obi I mean Ghana for se bi wo mo ni afika krade ebe enim wo bakwasem de wo papa fa mu ebe si sabre but wo kase bia wasama wo kan and say oh jai bone man just wo de bone che wo you obi a wo jai so you are a very forgiving person pa.
Yes, I think say nyina mesre obi a wo sre nyankopon no omma wo sa achede na wo de bone che na eno boa wo because enema atwam obronyi kase you cannot change what has happened in the past and so between sua bibia free mu now they are guided or steps are they going enti bibi toa esan kase enye hwiase a obehwiase na ne hia na nso ekwan abefa so a obesore enti mi de bia no me Methodist ni pa minye angel dia na nso so no sa akoma no ena ebia te se de okan mi sua no de me fa mu me papa wu ntem enti me bre na otu ana binum fi se da me kra de me murder enso so those days na o free mu within 3 months ni 2 year free abind them se bi ni official car kra judicial service for G ama me mama to next so fafom no den kola akosku enti obre
me kai se wasem bi akan ya so kwotena oyonko bi enchen wo kolebo na se baby a first na wo ti a wa uchi mu nso no na fe wi e sorry for ye wa ko bunso se na fe wi kakra wo
so sorry ntem no wa ko bunso na ja hu bi na colleagues ni bi wo no ma ko hu na no so a young man no in the national service what tema nti ahomachi na ja ya na apɛ wheat bi edi no ko ese me twen na no baba 7
ansa na modidi
ansa na yesen didi bio nti me hu bi akom de na menim de me ma fam
de wa fam
nti me hotema ena me so me feel say politics hu ni tema me ho se obi asem enye ware ho en hawa me ho untimi ye ni nyina bo obi wo ha party fo mo ba won cha e bi akasa de uni bi kra ekwan obefa so age no na wama ne kasa bi ebe na koma ato ne yem na se wafro phone na wafa obu okra no ni microphone na ti ho
peso wo chia so ni mo keke na je ono so de atu ne ho
enti me de my phone numbers me nsesa ada since I was press secretary okay BBC ya Ghana ha May 9th disaster then Ghana Telecom me 2 phone numbers me na me manage yina 37 for the families no near the president conform me kotran for a week just to with a software no near to be able to talk to people, counsel people. So phone e dey kra me
wow
I said now until bi oni mi bia ni mi OTO number no dey bia wo me ho from 2001 so until me feel say we are there power a transient especially MPP for any NDC for the yakum efrim akum efrim nti efutu am de ma enchirima no especially say political power ma emma enko wutrim eno ne hayen
nti am ujitum say amanfo ya power ni
oh na say utimi hu utimi hu ibi nanti ekura sesa me I was press secretary to the president, the rank of a minister mampeni tu
what's
here me na 24/7 nso mama na nko mitrim sa time kra ena ma nyese me befun bibia baby na metie me date ho na masi me dying in the late 90s and sana me da bia me sire nya me ta me struggle se nyankopon ma me si me dying sana ya ko power me pese me ko power na afi na me ko pe asase na wan hwe ya
kasi aban sika na
apart from that na esa na temptation na ya koya kese enso so metimi si me dying e ko tren mu
okay
that time is lego until say na me hwe ho say na bank lane na yewuam Emma Mekai said then National Security Coordinator Francis Poku. Ebia catch him say me cantonment say you opposite GIS. I honey edema me. Me call her na say daddy. Ma mentra me mpese me tu abetra we china bi adwuma hwe afi na san asesa o niam. Wo me dan o hade. I stayed throughout in my own accommodation. Man course so anko process ya ban asase wo ha saade na yade a me chiri mempe. What belongs to the state should be held in trust for yinina. Nenso so governments after government, if you roll in time, no more started, sir. Abayasase. So you see redevelopment, rezoning, and no civil servants in the did home. Oh, here, all politicians know. That's all about no my you say, oh, and so be the you be mommy, no, we won't offer. So
we did go mama what you say.
I'm catching. Enti ya na politicians no, you need the whipping boys. Asembia ba na dey ato so. Of course, ne kwanso no because you na yakosre nipa. See ento aba mai. And eventual responsibility lies with us, especially with the president, as they say that the buck stops at your desk. Enti yes, I think say as a people, yes.
Now unye ni so say said the more kasa politicians and said the musi to a young piama name hono we ye kromfo obi on opposition party na kromfo na mobile bem na mo be wie sika na mo say am so mobile na mo be wie and even within the same party ne kampo no obi tell wo ye hwan enye party ne ne ba ya nka wunye obi a wonim say no so na mayen the manfo no so ye hu ne say ne mo so be wie ya ba
no kre sa kasa no enye kasa efata de bia me twe yenko yechi 2007 na me abrante 44 45 na me the youngest of the 17 aspirants
but still I will look at abrante
e from mojamu ti say dia akaka kra bi wo na then general secretary NDC as say o chairman see din ketia ka asem bi na mkasa sedu asem a wo kan ofu say ye ne opant hu gu ye hu fi e baba be gu politics hu fi. Now, if you denigrate politicians ourselves, if we treat ourselves so badly, a bema is standing in society, afiase. O kachre, me pese me repeat as well. Say yeah 17. I say ma o kan ni bi no kachre.
Akon for 17.
Me pese meka. Oh, and I'm catching say men kasasa na wachina. Unim also betimi aba power. Na me nim say within a year cry you will lose election in 2008. But it's here. 2015, na me general secretary of the MPP. Me call mo conference with Kumasi. Me come solidarity message. Me catch them. Say for the foreseeable future, MPP ni NDC and Ebesho Mai. So these are the two big parties in the country. Inti ekwanya e faso dinkita ho. Ekwanya e faso e respect ye ho. Eno na te say the okay inipa behwe. Inti yenyai ayampia ne kasa enim obroni fre bibi slash and burn politics, and that's what is happening. Ghana ha ukase ye ni gise be say nipa ana say ye bo obi hwiase sa suman no ese free ho obi ye bone a ye ntwena so, and I'm perfectly for that. But the glee eni gise bia na ba ye musi hu so obi hwiase a enye whether it is MPP or NDC, it should stop. And that's why I'm calling for a new politician, a new Ghanaian. The BM engineers say recalibrate your thinking. Now you who say party politics, nti na ye frɛ no aman yosem ye oman see ye chichiri oman no so I believe the centerpiece of politics is the welfare of the ordinary person omo eni bie no omo na omo hu hia nye nyankopon adom ye kakra because say me bay me drive ya me dru na buhun say oba ogina wiem wo hwa ade eso no enu be 200 cedis kra na ne ba hye na chi
o chefa na bo na fifrate
no up and down na fifrate no na say enye wo enka wakoma we believe in empathy and me politics now me because they say there's too much promotion of self rather than the collegial mentality say obia bringing everybody on board eno na aha Ghana na yesu Ghana for so ye ka ho
adai
ye enablers ye gige niema so obinya posisia ne nyina na say me na me vetting na ahemfo na menti asade na menti asede
na so obetai
me nyame ya madom na efrem sa bia me ye ne me baba ku bia na say me pie
no wadi wachi
no
wo say so na nani so say wa
debi yes I create impression bi say debre ade bi da ho na ye de hye no onkodi ana okofa nti enkota na chi ne ne nkodi it sends a bad signal.
Okay.
Into am I lose
you are not in support
of that at all. Obi call hearing now. Okay, who say the krom for the nechi. Yen ko aye niam bi na nya ese.
Okay.
As a people, na e idea ye culture ni bi o ha emwan. Ukọ abem kra na obana uniska yes we oni nyan so ko abem kra onyeska. It encouraging for
wealth.
Enye I want people to have a sense of fulfillment. Say ubetimi asum na wenya hwe no I expect bibia.
Yes, so you should be content with
the spirit of contentment. Ade nyankopon de che. Yensre na obi enya bi. Nene kola na mafo abai. Timi de me no me fa ne say me abrante enso manyini. God has given me an opportunity to travel the transition of politics and even technology. The papa no enhu ene ye hu flat screen o mo hu bida na ye tikopo no bi so on sit na black and white kitikiti enti ese ije bibi manchirima no so I've become an advocate for the restoration of our values as a people.
Okay.
Eno de politics ni nchen no ese ye ka ho asem na suban ene Ghana for nyame anim ni ye dressing kra no ya na enye mesre meka
man me
nyina
ye dress say
chese obi first who pay free fee eni entire bi ho entimi ema on free fee obi betian a wo kwa abonten me hye satare we ene obi timi hye obi o ka so free ni dem an obi gina so ho dem so enti
it is the one satade
bibisa so ho enti ya ma standards no afall ene obi ntimi ntia akola
ka me bibisa senti e hwan asede e about be hye mu se obi ntimi ntia akola no
se ye ya ma sisi nkola kra mu mpanifo ena social media no so de amane makra asekra because obi hye ne dem kra otimi set up TV station ensemu a emfata ensemu a ya enye no kra na ye di gunipa ho fi enye it's Ghanaian, it's not part of our culture enti yes enti se ye mpanifo no ye di enim ne kire sa suban na ebe mo yesa no ebe brase na nso yeso ebe gina ho ne yetoto mane ye ho na ye very aggressive because of politics because at the end of the day ye kwa abem ye ba yetu unya hataban na watu ye nyina ti asase so na sometimes ubetime hia pani bi odi power na uhunu nipa kra nkai o nipa kra nkai o because if you ask no obia on a time me say na me passport ba nti me still me pay and I was a presenter like this many years ago na de ya na so be hu so obia ye star Ghana so ye star ye jijo so Frederick ba or kwa ne convoy bi a forecast boys cruise di akire ne e spend this car when you be no entufo enche bia na osika na se bi wa hwa oyire no eja o be hu no na afi waye basa
na mfo ne omukobo
omunyina enti a difficult life to be in public life. Inti ya yesusu no yesusu na say na me say nkrofo kan article 70 hwan na say politicians no omu kufia unya de ho koka adwuma pa no wan hwe a untimi nya bi chense bia wo ye lawyer wo ye doctor na akɔhye wa clinic ana wo ye lecturer na akɔ back to university say wo kɔkyera de
but so ye business
any other say bia me my press secretary to president that time wo frɛ CEO bia odi America na beba wo frɛ abɛn na aka say afi wo kɔ engineering consulting work uko ministries bia afi wo kɔ ministry yes it na reception
asset na papa won na tena no so di bia ma
yeah no go but you know ntiana a difficult for them nti wo munya some parachute a year friend parachute a year the mom say ja fa crowd ho kakra na hwe osusie nti very important those are things social nema a high as a country and one thing that we don't even speak about population explosion now saying you suddenly at TBB Ghana Social Marketing Foundation no more check condoms so within the last 20 years the population is almost doubled. Meanwhile oman no asase de expand nipa na be more nti one ese etufo na sebi o wo mo eni bi no mo susu ngo because ya na eha so because a creating nkola it becomes a burden on the public treasury and on the society nti de ni die ni kasapa entu onfo
nti ususu senka ni yie mu a enka obi a wo say
oh me feel say 5 enye se ka utwem 5 me de 3 nanka me nya 2 anka meka ene ma aba omo ya school nti omo kakra ese ya mo bio
nti wo ne say so at least wo ma 5 a yo
5 year
and so go beyond
at least nyankopon do ba wi ase so replace wo na replace wo ye nti 2 at least now insurance ba kun bi aka ho bi na ba kwa misbehave
sanity omo bro sa no so said now no so yenyinya empayinfo bi o ma senke ya ho wo mo a enke bi o ma medicine
o ende no kre ende me kasa enye no kre enye no kre na ensusu family planning ade ya me ehia me pa nya me ye madom na se party for Jimmy Tum na yesuma me na Ghana for ame so na me ye president. One of the things I'll lead in this country is family planning. Any parenting. See, say parenting, ahiasi. A man be to me pia, ye must say copies cabrefi.
Open away.
Auntie, a lot of things are say because standards are falling. First, now see if I want to me and funny maybe in coffee, we at Tonya and Henfa. And then all the cockrane ye. So them shanty, Sani many in idea, SCF, is to buy. Affecting a public life and ama Ghana baby ejina minyini se ade nyina ye nije ho we have to improve it.
Okay, yembra party now what ma Ghana man nyina ehu ni so ade hu na esi we ni so se opese won so kugina se de waka no party ji utuma no mind for our so baba bi di Ghana enim but since you share within the party now I think say metana make say obibi aye okay ewo womo ayawdie ewo womo wantwi womo bekasa ekasa. Do you think say stage na mo party ewe we obi a wo betimi aka mo nyina mabom say one party ana em say
wa wo kan say me obi a me wo hunhuma e de Adekye because ye ka obi a ya twe na boss pa o party ma kameka say me ni omo e kan say kra almost station master nenso so me feel say party na me dom e na me pese obi asom osom no enipa beba enipa beko te say dubo hen ba ya okọ kofo bai okọ akufo ado bai okọ enti se wodo nipa na eye party na wodo no na ode fa so de do de yi no so and the individualism as I say as a cult figures be nipa tai nipa chia chinchina we ankwa ene mo obi enko ana mempene sai suban no na ni ho na me abrante ye ne tai Dr. Safodo echi young executive for ne mrante no na dodo na ne tai Dr. Safodo echi in 1992 na je Kufuor ho Professor Dubois Ahen ho Mr. Kudua ho Dr. Selby ho ye koto aba yi Professor Dubois. The following day ena Dr. Safodu oni nkola bi me di be 30 years odi yedi nachi oni ekoni omo anim fie ho o airport Templesi Lane there be di name de pa ona Professor Dubois nti number 12 Templesi Lane no odi come and say oba money trinkwa na odi nkola ni bi office omo be hia na o smart and then the man many Professor Dubois be very close, so close to the sense that onyini area na oyare kra anche go say no clinic
no so accept one vindictive say wo hanti no
there be man that say even in 96 kra ye call legon no be anim say prof na oye figure no enso Mr. Kofo timi twa na no ya anti say Mr. Kofo be hwe ni maka say wo ye Dubois henipa wo ye Junso Furata nipa wo ye GH Mensa na konta GH Mensa me kra na me man nomination speech e wo lego so on them children wan kasa ada enso ene ebinum timi ba party mu inse so obeka so party din no me dem ye we nipa utie kasa ne bi on social media enye de kra emfata
nti ani nyina ka wona de mpapa mu
eno na de mpapa mu ba enti se say no the time has come say unity no ene nkabom saa eni die kasapa enuado tema ebuo a ne ma party no be ya akono na obi a pese oyi bibi di ma party no a ene saa sunsum no akofom saa sunsum na mpese me kenyan na me yusu me amabrabo wo party mu obi anim say for the last 30 something years that time na Peace FM ne UTV ne ni ho na Ghana Broadcasting Corporation se okọ transfer Ghana nyina ehwe o ye pe obi akoye party political broadcast in 1992 na ehu pa because that time ni pepe adwane kwa abuchire wo mo Ghana ye gu omujuma obi asuro so jeni nso a ohwe so no so aba na so ogina bi enso me akola me yese da bi mpanimfo no ebi egu apiem nka adwuma ye gu safo adu adwuma sian apentimensa no ne adenti bi omo suru kakra me dem ya abrantie me dem ho bebo afore for that me na me national television so and I'm a party political broadcast me so me adwuma aban adwuma mu
na Nsroma aside say we adwuma e wo aban adwuma mu no na Nsroma won kwa say obi betimi age won kwa firi
nsem ehu especially considering what had happened to my father na ehu but I was prepared to say look my me fa me ho afode me dem ho bebo afode because sana me papa oneni nuanom di ho bo afode ma o man and I did that through be obekwa adwuma na me adwuma Ghana Highway Authority say young civil engineer so boss is on who na fe obi e twe no
e say be associated with you near the one so abeka ho
because omu nyina wa banjuma and we had a military head of state at that time na nyanya transitional and it was very difficult. It was a difficult decision. I put my whole professional development as an engineer, the career at stake. And so me yesen debi for the good of this country. Our sa good role aname won me de bema party no nam de ayejuma.
Okay.
Asum party.
Do you think sir based on the sacrifices what make it for party no said we see two we see what some wo to say okay edu point because don ho bo for the enu nti no ususu se edru so yemfa ma wana
oh there be me de bia unsi yekuo no ye na Adekye bimam ka bi etintim Ghana ade Ghana for ya eso mo boy abaso se ne democracy ye enjoy amakeke ye mpanimfo no bi ebre pa ansana PNDC eji atumu se ye be ye democracy omo NDC me de me feel say de dodo no be ka no eno na hia the me believe right now no say if we are say diversity idea here so and variety they say is the spice of life enti tambia na say party nya options one more ejidi say more of the same no omonim there baby on beto ma bafa one more so feel say essence san na go back to our roots. That's the theme of my campaign MPP going back to our roots because going back to our roots sa sunsun na ewoye mu a ye de to ho ache that dose of voluntarism a chesa wo koya de a umusa bibi
not based on selfish interest
there bi unhia hwe obi ye sa na emani anwene se ebenya bibi na ye de ye pese ye som party no na party ne ba power so and then kola ne pi unu omu di nkoma enti sa
obi be ka se obi nyi hwam pipa ne nsakwa
ai no kre
obi ye
yes akokoba oben onino onya abebesre enti ye no de metiase me politician metiase nenso so si e masika any materialism edi enim te say edi enim organ na haye nti yen ye da party na no yen yai sa kasa no ena mi uska ena ma yesei ena me na dabi eno hu hia di hia no say yemfa edo enko sa akansi kasa emfata na yen free ho na ema omo owo akire no enhu se papa yi ni sunu ne banti no mekra politics no minya bi ameye na emum omo na oya mse na nsan bibi ba ese bibi baby with sharp teeth yes akoba ne se Ghana ha no wa na oya na ya ma opposition na ti radio so na TV so na wo cassette nipa emfata me gidi say especially when you are in opposition you are trying to appeal to the conscience of the country to win hearts and souls your language has to be persuasive. Adia ma ye ho kire kese. And the bia na me catch the communicators no say mo kasa no ano ya akosoro dodo. Especially considering the economic difficulties na ewiase nyina afemu a bia kan Ghana.
Se ne ho kire no ba wo ko kasa na wo kasa wo de ho kire bia
ni ho a. Eso man tete ase se aho kire ba yesre mo. Se ni nti but munya gidie se ye be hihye nema ama nipa ho ato. Na ukasa oboso ya yesi ye ne yesi eno no is off putting.
Okay ye kasafa ye kasa ho asemi se wote se obi wo mo party no na nipa no ni afi bia ni dibre bia wedru na bia okase wo ye hiani enkense se wo kasa mo se ana so bi kase oh na se we de se bi oye non entity how do you feel
yen kasasa ewiase obi aye nipa nti yen kasasa ese odi buuma o yonko nipa nti saa suban ene kasantwie saa yen kasasa me de mesre ne se aba na yekoto ese o show options me feel say advantage am wo especially ne say many all the flag bearers in this party from ye started politics me no my ejuma
okay
me some Professor Dubois Mr. Kufo, in fact, President Kufo, be president, all those in 98, na me di candidate Akufo do campaign. And so who sa Abranti?
Oh, ni mapawo ni mo.
Nti otweme ben ho. Ama obeye presidential candidate. Obeye president. Me na me ye ne kasa mafo. Wan kasa me support Akufo do ntino. On ma me men no. There be wan kasa. Onim sa ntete bi e na ma penny ba ko si we free me money din. E ko hey Akufo do agent o kasa no. Omo this. They just say but no odika edidi agro ma efe.
Okay.
Some of them show.
What boss to say? Sorry, what boss to say? President Kufuor that time na within a campaign anyway. Mame train yembra ne say me kai pass time na mo party no edru point bi na say emu ai ehuru de wo benie that na mo to me pa nyese bi ehuru woni body ba no ani abresos pa say mo to me. And that was the time me kind of say you suspended within the party. Do you think and feel say we are bonny and you suspended?
Debbie, manye bonny bia.
Why you bonny?
No.
Okay.
Manye bonny bia. There were people who felt say me politics. I feel say a ground game. I had to believe say all the 275 constituencies at the time. As I operated to say infantry units are ekwakum. Because abano yetuno constituency, yetuno declare, yetuno region, yetuno national. Tina, I wanted to strengthen the party at the base. Until for the first time, as general secretary, we may be accounts. And my party no, you should Ghana Conventional Bank because me feel say, eno na Ghana Bank, eno so our baby to say, here see this is free headquarters, eco party. Nya fe na me dey so region and sana
direct.
It's a co-direct because with nneɛma abɛɛfo nneɛma ba wo press button account or circular e obi answer kan de eso
okay
e call so a chairman secretary treasurer women organizer nipa 9 enim ho bi no ma bo executives na mane na adwumadi a e de o meni so mo ye no o ma ye
okay
me yes no some of the regional for no omo feel say be am afa won ase na mse da bi in my view regions there mo ho sem be hwe the constituencies no mo musika ebeba that was the beginning of the issue.
Okay, so we because a dear potty and omugina so mo de suspend.
And the chance obusa om.
Nti be see na wunni ma
there and someone omo kan fa se nde na propaganda. Omo nse me party for no permasem. Nti and someone can say my taking decision unilateral.
But party ni obi a ye ma wo letter.
Oh, me letter no hwe ni so permit me unilateral me phone so.
Yes, state you.
See be communicate with me and communicate with me bio. Be see na but they know the American say me party for him say masun party tie to abama me boom watermale tie omo nim say party have got deep roots in the party tie say e ka ensem a emfata e fame ho because me pese me call back abe keka sa ansem say my trans studio ha ajakwamna me explaining bibia and I said go be bibia after all these years come there ba
say kwamna enchi me ba o genzi saba obi o hono mo a ye kan say
enchi na me chire ma chire no
enchi say enchi na ya me bisa say enhifo say de be obi kan asem na waka say me say
waka say me pen kabom enti de ye me ya ne say mpanimfo no bia na me no ma ye adwuma da muni mi suban munim city amete masom na mo betra ho na mo ahwese BBC ye de beto me so a onim se masom da because we need me subai na me kase 1998 bi di nanado campaign ontimi nkase me fa ne takuda never me ye president kofo so press secretary obi na odi fin e kan me nti me de blemish de me make sure say me ye me niam pepepe na se party ni o support party why woman organizer na me mano waiver sebia o bi onisika enti usika obetua no ye ma untua half because me pese me encourage ma no almost stand there we are the bonnet
na say na compound within mo party no
but e no come charges no ho
oh
obi o how ya branch no mo bibi e friend afag accountable bibi ICCS obi ba no mo de political advocacy me feel so mo boa party no pa let's opeso
governance
no opeso costa na we are branch na so we are branch nti usa nti wo no ye ma waiver free are you free me man waiver Tina Mensa me man waiver ni ono nko a Peter Mensa ono say na we communicator ama obi akọ to ahye no so after anajubi ma edini ko Germany kra nti oba no so opeso still or standing na so wo de ye ma wontu akra wabre
what charges no
no someone say unilateral decision apart from that me who any major decision the other one had to do with say party no say o ma yi chairman na sinchen na me say me mpene na me say yes me mpene because procedure o mo fast no enye the right procedure chairman no to Ghana ha at the time na Paul wo Ghana ha nyo no na convening meeting no meetings bia MPP in say chairman na convene na say ni assessor constitution no kakra say unya 60% signatures are with me but normally at that time na sa amendment any ho the chairman ni kroma no convening meeting there cannot be a national executive committee sa time na me presidential candidate Nanado ni wa brochi ye tukwa ye ko international conference enti presidential candidate ni ho ni running mate Dr. Baumia anyhow chairman of the party anyhow me general secretary chairman ese mame order na matimi invite obia former president Kufo anyhow then minority leader chairman Sabonsu uniho the deputy Dominic Niti uniho this is painful anyhow there how can you possibly put together a national executive committee na first vice chairman blay etimi frɛ na nipa konese yeyi party chairman esinchen I thought it was wrong and I still believe it was wrong. There was never a petition was filed at the party headquarters. So person Nansen Chief Justice dey by say petition, it will still go to where it has to go to. So ama and a petition and say ba na steering committee etna so. Na you decide say there are a lot of on kind of prima facie on the face of it, no. Bibi wo mu a na etimi aka say okay and this man committee mon fana mon frɛ chairman na o meyi na no. We never, nothing like that happened. The three and say nkrofo bi the petition akoma this one committee chairman and I'm say irregular omudin wo but in person individualistic but I just wanted to state say it was irregular. That happened was irregular, and as general secretary I wasn't going to identify myself with something that was irregular. And Nikai said TV3 electoral commission yeah reforms na akwa reforms we okufuridia na edan no more presenting report no me kono na me se me ne chairman afoko beko eno no me first charge say me ne chairman afoko beko dia na kire say mabu the national executive committee here and that was my first. Now I'm saying no, it wasn't a properly constituted national exec, and I will say it till the day I go to my grave. That decision was erroneous. It was out of procedure. So, in my view, it was null and void. Should never have taken effect.
No, but no, why he will be one. Well,
me per se you spend too much time on this. But of course, politics there are some people who want ultimate authority, and I believe say in politics there should be checks and balances. Okay. And no baby. Now, if a party is strong, then when you have a president, you have a strong chairman and general secretary who can look him baby AC. Me general secretary at the time you buy power in 2017. Me say in my views on how small a government should be. I would never have advised say president and nipa 124 because I've always believed that there should be 19 cabinet ministers, 19 deputies, 38. If you add the 16 regional ministers, 54. I think this country can run with that. Okay. But of course, presidents have the authority. But coming as general secretary with the full force of the mandate of the party would have been able to impress on him. Sibia, opening, and it was clear.
My share Mamim Bisasa wone Ayo Ibrahim Mahama Montemo Etese Obesen Tanzania bi omo de ball so ne say
yeah na say we are them mama
woche wo ho kai nyina afi de wa wo de
wonya kan de
bo bi ko hwe wo kai mu bo na say ebinom ato ahye wo so baby so na wo ka o
so wa kan history ba
wo directly no ka wonnim na nam yonku bi so e na wo de ehu no nti sa abre no montem
etese Ibrahim ni hu na che
no me just even say nima wo benim no ko na nam yonku bi so na wo de
and no correct the American say me sana me we highways na politics no na say elusu 92 no na afi me say the way I'm back out against hip papa ya obedi president ya me say ate abedwon have ho be me obi ampam me de
Joanna Ojaye
timia na me jai around 93 94 ena you set up your private firm me colleague back home e wa adabraka ena ye call rente obi dine renovate na na so nti ye de bi ema high na use boys quarters as an engineering consulting firm na for construct consult na sa dine mu no madam for pa back home friend David Amankwa David Walter otiase ono na me fa ne say okofa Ibrahim Fabrice by
okay
yes nti
so on be join mo group
there be no more a different company okay a different company nti no be fie ho Timoto so that those sales Ibrahim moto ne usana na East Legon ha so not here o ma me just tamaklo o East Legon me so meet East Legon to oni kwa me sifa ka so tisro me na time ya brand na that time ya koye djuma bi obo ase matomi BM dem ne ade nti e ko discra no me no na nam so na me sana me pe time papa so nti Ibrahim de minimum in the 90s
okay
in the 90s enti me me wanwa say because if you hono David Amankwa making me sister penny friend Irene Amankwa o ware bomti Akufuado so dem yenti eya busia na etifi oda dada
no talk am
then nya no kre o sti ase mu musa no ma me bufu no kra o pa me chew nyina se me ka chen se ntika wontimi mma me ka se nya no kre
na wonye ne said that time no so we a lot of disservice because
man
be say sama yes
man kasa
wonye ano
me the bombs bo de am se me no na me feel say ye adwuma ya hyehyɛ primaries akoyie ma then candidate Akufo-Addo onya be 93%. Wo mo ese me say me mpese obey yi na ya ye bibia fefefe wa win massively. Ya be parliamentary primaries in June ye primaries be 251 one day. One to say anoma ananse pin atofom because with the pepper ye hyehyɛ bibia by the time I free makonwa so on December 10th 2015 na ka be 4 or 5 constituencies ye ntache na bibia call fine because me dey me feel so ma ye koto aba na pepe ye wo ho wan hye nipa na obia koto a eno na ma ye nya 169 seats eno na me ye nya 169 seats
okay
enti me dey doing things properly in my life that has been my conviction na ya na nkrofo feel say me ye tin dodo politics we say we flexible no kre me tiase but you shouldn't cross certain lines nti enye no kre da ena me ka say Ibrahim me fa ne se me nua ketwa so na se ka say obi kra bo bi aka me ka say me maboa no sen pa onim because you all power no na nipa bi pese gu na adwuma onim me kan onim nipa cross so to be ese me frɛ oboase any minds say we Ghana ni woman nye na adwuma woman nye na adwuma
wow nti say
me hu na che
okay
me hu na che omo winning elections na me friend no congratulate you no
okay
but me nim say dey me hu na say ache
say ye bon komo ya o kan say o dey pepepe yo ye sisi wo bi a o mpe hu ne say nye kwampa so you are not against asotwe say me punish obi so fi say kwampa so a
say
we see gina mu ekuma eye that time chairman Paul Afoko eni no one ne ntem etese
o menene na say mishia no flight so impufri ma ni nyina be friends Paul wo che wi asimi hu wache
mu wache
me hu na che but say
because said is here ya mumie nu nyina na ye yimu fo yo nti ye na a ye wo ekire ndi hu ne say
mo fa say entafo bi sa
je mo kon na krana
there be look Paul is a very good person, a very nice person, very kind. But say we as men kase men no kon na krana we had a very good relationship. We still very nice. Me sending a message wa ma there but me sending a message but me lunch me campaign there nti you know we
say wa ma there but e be so keka so me ensem troni there say at some point who betray no na maybe ana yesenka wo court testify but who feel yesenka wo ma testimony na
I think say enemy bi wo ha onime anya adwene but it's okay if we they say you can disagree me feel say party no o mato abama ene da e kwan o mo fa so yi esinche no enye but still party timi hu me ho se me akwa gina court se me ni MPP etwe
wow
ntimi me ka kire ne say onjai
engineer na hu ne se de usi pepepe yo na say ye de ade adu na enya woda you need to speak out na pepepe yo and na one but now
we are saying
as what party who buy against
because that's the only vehicle that you have. You cannot destroy vehicle na Ukraine say opese wo san betre mu san twika no so enema piti misisi wo wiase abusua mu me ade enti ho ma me nkire mu because sase mu nkrofo aka enya no kreso so na me ka say me eye bia we can betray and say because e nkrofo bi kan
okay
still e bi de kan enti na me de say wo de bae no nya de aka me boso because ye po bi a ode ne ho bo afode e ma Paul de anka ye me because at that time no say me obi a me opportunist Enka, you suspend and make us say, maybe now I was general secretary for 2 more months and signed a year me feel because I was fully convinced that my and yet to be no more nyajuni. So them children, me no almost nyajuni. So intermediate, in fact, one thing happened there, and then meka. Emma me say e she candidate Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
Na ye wa abrochire. Ya trip. Ye twem ye free Holland na kodru London. Sata na me wo school or Leicester. Enti me say na me kostra no quickly na mabane a to aso. Akọ Washington na say akọ Canada na it was a trip for any presidential candidate. Ye ko share party for. And I me say asem say yes Ghana say ye chairman esinje. Na me say enti ene any demo me confront two candidates are na ye nyina wa e den na Fred blame etimi aye meeting also na me say no we there I don't accept it say me no kwa na che say de mo aye no me fo aso I can't do that
and what can say
me jano ho oh yes and me de masem e ba kope and I know say he didn't like it because eventually he said I had chosen Afuku ahead of him. And I'm saying, no, I had chosen principle. Because somebody who's elected as chairman, you are the candidate now, you have the power to stop what they were doing. But chose not to stop it. So
in a way, you feel so also became an enabler?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, when you are a presidential candidate, you are all in all. You are the leader. What you say doesn't matter what the Constitution says. Once you are becoming the presidential candidate, asema can, nti say idea na on person dey bisi akensi nti in my heart I blamed him for that nti me can say sanity there may come back to Ghana so I left Heathrow and I'm back to Ghana. He continued the trip. He wasn't happy with it, but nti me one was say na Paul and an Nkrofo say I took that decision. Say me opportunity coming Nana Beko after all me nim Nana pa
to who say behind
Taman Bay General Secretary no me catch and say we dey Nana say the fufu atom because me know Ajuma starting in 1997 and I'm called Nana office 97 first me catch Nana you can be president no sure you think so Kojo Thompson number 57 Kojo Thompson say na dey me na anteche timi ni me stagecraft me so enti me catch and say mo onye worried ade a me dwen ho ana nkrofo nyini no in 98 near 6 pen yetimi di na chi it say ne parliament nipa 3 pen sorry out of the ni colleagues 67 or so 3 Christine Checha Crunchy and no ba me yin bi me lunch Asante Achim South ya Benin da ko ono so buy me lunch ni bi no atiwa that na atiwa ya one those 3 pe ni nya akukuduro say ebedi Akufo-Addo echi me kwabna Japan me nua me ne bo tafre kusua tafre and no na yesu was there Mrs Newman Victor Newman we free no director of research ono and a brigadier Numensa people don't know Brigadier Numensa. No, yes, 6. Ni free na Nefie East Legon to set off on the journey in 1998. Inti me catch them say na me fear say obedi president nyenne. Na obi anyu ni no me na me Judy. I took a risk at the time when everybody knew Kufuor was the main candidate because he had just lost an election in 1996. And na me feel say na near ding obetimi am here face Rollins near you my free ho. Inti me tarnish. So to do that
sabe no na mukabo mujamo no
into airport on I had to come back to Ghana. I wasn't in agreement into enye no kre say me obi a me sacrifice e no ka ho and I so yes
because na me can be say the na manfo so can say audio BPA ya na wo bopo eka se wo mpene ema na
za audio na wan
emeye so TV emeye president and ni nyina ka when also me wo kani doctor NDC for man scholarship and ode
and so I'm happy say ode aba and no make sense mo mu say enye no creda oko school na me general secretary oko school in February 2012 that time Kwana Mills na president na Mahama nye president Mills never president. Mills passed on in July, if my memory serves me right. Oko school. In fact, GIG, Saturday is still GIG, honor charge. One see Omuniska. Na omu internally generated funds into me, and I know Omuniska kakra from Get Fund. And my. For the first 2 years, me savings are me press secretary, no. You took I drew London number account be Barclays. Yeah, me pay them nam dia koto. Number 2 nkolana for say hey, mun save o na sika na mbode to turn yama ko Ghana no. We chine bia na president Gofo ni ho. Sa savings no eno na me do the first 2 years. Those days tuition fees was about 13 or 14,000 pounds. I paid from my savings. DIJ, I don't think they fully refunded the thing up to today. And we obey lecturer, I head of your friend is a media communication department. He say on director of international affairs. Unimax. He say on languages yabo. So it was never true.
Dr. Lauren Share Japan. No need to me producer there.
So watch a lot of people are there because studio will be as chairman mama. It was all lies cooked up. The Nyami on Peboni, MC 2018 and 2019. And Auditor General, a publisher of more scholarships from Scholarship Secretariat to Kwabruchi, who said Dr. Loja Japobu. Maybe in fact, MPP phobia no more ministers. Crano man, the AGG, Yakonam have a nearly. Omukadi Amumsubo. Ubia ono ye lecture class nka sebio ye mano scholarship crack esefata because na adwuma no enso so itwato me so but enya hwe e wiase no say o akomapa na num say enya no crack you don't worry
but so do baby so as said they make along the line say we own a lot of the self being so aya kasa and no crack say to the bia me nature no the way anema na yawa me fam na they am very calm. We will different emotional strength and intelligence me will be. Nyankopon dey ache me. Tinye niema nyina na aye me respond. And no say me you also because we are into political communication. When me kunya say me nam debi. We are in 2016. In fact me kotran in chair till June 2016 and by. Say me be boa. Campaign no still on suspension. Me support to over 100 constituencies with money. Yes, evidence no. And some became ministers and MPs. At that time, Miti Bank, SG Bank, East Legon. And I made transfers. Out of all packets.
Me, of course, nini film but to me now for a pemasem no my jijiska. Now me send those days 2,000 each. In those days 2016. And they come each constituency, well over 100 constituencies, especially in the northern sector, Bron, Ashanti.
See that time no Oma nanadu
onim me de na receipts amana huda onim o copy me am code obedi president the copy ko share and kasem de be mo bi na o kasa ne nsanka
well the command
dan bi
muntam to say
oh nana de ono ne hu anika nana he's a fun to be with at least he's not somebody I met me I say me buofu nan say am ko land me ko sran and say yo
nti officially no nana any party no apa wo chewo de omo ye
there be omo nye na dan last national council me catch omo say wo ma anya sa ni ma tutu ye nyina sometimes be a spiritual account
go we di open
mo di bone a mo di ye fa so me ni afoku ne crab no say mo pe kwan bi na mo pa ye so
wo di obaka say we jai others no mo da so di ye awana
well, unse crab crade wasan babe contest ne ade. Paul na watching ho kakra. But matise me say me stress nka me be presidential candidate ka me am ko no ho akosre no. Say o meka amra. Because you be a ope party no. Wa boa party no. And wa boa na nasoso. Nima o ye man na in 2008. Inti ana e she no so kakra.
Oh.
So, but sa na eme nyina yenya sa fache sunsun. Si yenya na sa ebe ni pi akobo.
Nti we jai bibia.
Me jai bibia mu. Na se me hu nipa ni bia. Nipa obedi ntro onim ne ho. Because ye call Conservative Party Conference. Birmingham and Manchester, one of them in Nepal. Emma and you know, and to me, when I'm so maybe free Leicester, that's not school, Uncle Jamie. And I'm so, my dream Manchester, I'm a free chapter no. Now, me, I'm a drama coordinator. After international, your own say a conference, any Conservative Party for any international groups, a free International Democratic Union, other parties, you belong to some conservative. Yeah, dinner we are. Into your call restaurant, you call and I'm so, Miss Maggie seat, be a party for Manchester Party. Now, not Lady B. Me bonnet needs to say, I'll be going to me money, the bone him no. No, me shame. Me, sir, or no, any no. No Otimbi. No Otimbi. And na me yeso ho bi. Intimate say me akwa kan bibi wo radios. Me no obetu ka free Leicester call land na cotton radios. Ne ma me craft friend say na yesi wo so akwa kan bibi afa yi ho radios. No say nya no kre. No, let's get to London. Ono onim sensem bi nim so na kan.
Ade hono no nkomo bi ko so.
O se ne edi nkomo. Ne edi nkomo. You di party nkomo. And ono kase chese ba e osua na de ni kun na tua ska na time your power no kra no per scholarship am se me dem pasa wenya so
okay
and we be dan no be ka say ndi for man scholarship nipa no tiase make we hu minim no pa
na hu ne se motar how e ba ye ne ade nyina so was nanado was side wo ewura afoko ene ewura crab ene ewura lanchamante momo ye president kofo ede so that say the momo twintwa ya na mu bi enti ne yi mo afiri ho no mokra
na say o kana side ya me no nya awi because alanchamante second sa campaign no ne Nana Akufo-Addo na. In fact, no kwado oboni din say obey no minister before the election. So okay. Oba so man ye minister for. Enti sa kasa se na bi no ye say me the party no mesom osono. The osono be yi no bia metanachi.
Enti obeka se wo be choose osono over one kasa oba.
Me ba de be din. Ene family asem misrew. We say na me kofi a me answer. So as I make because I say me answer me last me year me official announcement questions be koswa me ntiase e be say na dem we Dr. Bawumi antem and I say and obi say you have jumped ship na say ship no the NPP ye nyina
jump ship no say so wa so ko no say bi o mo said the last
say we NPP
na wonne no akobala
we NPP di na odo party no it is your sacred responsibility say yeyi nipa na ese otanachi we you akomam I was expecting so one more year akomam ma meta na chintem no wo na ese mbuso wasem na nya mia beginning missing there be papa yenya yi no there were issues and no credit o ha na aka e bi no fu say ya chinchin nipa nsa na e di ama no
personally when now was our issue ne be
where there were issues I mean when you are in government there are establishment incumbency wo ho politics there ese otimi ka ho no kre but since ya nso obia kokromoti amfa tima yiso de se sika ne de ma wo sasem ne ka hye waso mo udu ha otimi sesa wadwe timu kɔ na akoto na nipa no wini wi a me ntimi nka se ye hye wonti nato so on them show in fact I made that comment after the say look obia nso obia ansa inti yes mateten sem say ya freeway say ya people in line near dey but I feel say unya koto dia na dey open na we ye so inti I supported him fully with my heart sana me when I commit myself to something I do it without asking for no strings attached when you hear from enfam me dem makoma makoye adwuma ni wi a mapon and that electoral cycle finished on the 7th unfortunately anye say we are starting a new electoral cycle ya koye ne say na me catch you be say eh na dem busem question mu busem say koto aba obi weni a me yan ko support na because who ko support na say nipa na person ko bi ma na chese enema no bi wo ha yes ano ye na se mo boy abaso mo boy abaso na mo bia because ye kwei ye nim de obewene me de me sey Nyankopon and my sempa ekoto party for ni me sese omo pese ye koye nim enya obi obetimi aka party na bom a wonim party mu ananti mu asua from mpanimfo da rocha no adubu ahenum ne Mr. Kufo ne Akufo no asua mu na ase a ene ka mfu se eyemia mo de mamia me hwe party no because minim party for bre into the welfare system that I'll put in place for our polling station executives to make sure some so bibi kakra entimi ntua ka eno de obi obeka sa bia but parties so they make sure say you dues no so ye tua ekuo bia ni wa betimi succeed a untua dues ena party no so me ne o mo nya adwene say enkotua dues no e wo headquarters obi ankotua on constituency me tua o me de o me krom
na some wo bank ka mo bank account
but no so party no dey move me dey me feel say dues no betimi dey bank account cry say e constituency account because your membership should be constituency based so with them no
and Ghana nyina move kotua mo dues wo
system bi ho so test me dem ntua bi sada me bufu nti me kwa me tua me book me use me book dada nti me kwa me tua me tua me ho bo me tua me ho bo 10 cedis a month you see am so almost say one sadodo nti me dey me at least me tua 10 ma multiply by 48 months na chese my na me a year account normally me could 500 no ma can chairman no secretary assign and my accountant na me dey atum na me dey tua so sana ese ye no nti me sre wo mo a e kasa kasa no enye kasa e fata
recently when Adekye fati ehia
the ye campaign no em say ye call event bi na me ne Dr. Bawumia ne nam e wo National Mosque
no share
because na me hu na che na mate so on tiapo but dan dem so by no o kekem gomre japo be chia me na me chia
and then
so no any guy
to say
oh hajia obi a minim no nyenne edubu ahin time niema odi no ho eye ma party ne niema edin ma na na chese omutumi rolu ofom ne ade chese nti obi a minim no oh but unse ono is sensational it to be create scenes onya hunu sa na wafa na sa nti o share me baby na se o ka so obecha obi se obecha se o chia
nti ko anka de anka wonchia no
ka me yimani by the way o kikem na nipa nyina ehe na wuntimi nya sa se
de why obi a on find
oh de oh se no de me fa na se na nipa bi na hihye na chi na ono de haja de opema se meninu nante yenye ne meninu from adubu ahin time nti menyini se ono wo bibi tia me but nipa bi koye ne se me mpese na be we ne ono so de we opena na se be fa ne trim nti ono de me nheda wo mo hihye chi ye sa na me na mfata mpanimfo bitimi kobopo pani ba ko
ye montia wo
oh omo se me kwamna Japan odikufo achi the press secretary onya dollars bebre o se san it say bro nti on pese ensem na o tape so me nsa kan tape me de ko bomb candidate Akufo do say opani epo a omo bofa me huni omo se omo nko radio so no nko di matem and I intercepted that tape obi di breme obi opema se
wow
na me de ko bo kire no one office already
na ye den
o should be din say na politicians ni niema etimi koso so but some of these things maybe I don't believe in these things niema sa no enfata enye me de me se obebo bi hu pobone de me nya bi da menim ye nti da bi am yesi me nkodi sofo
ozo say ida
politics na
okay so politics na wo be di
me pese me som oman no
menim se
ye pese yesesa oman no
delegate hwe eniema be ne wo mu a wususu se agesa ya ma wo kwan ama waba be di party nenim na Ghana fo aye wadom wo be di president san wetimi only she
o da bi eniema de sisi akra metimi aye na me kan me too onfo so very important because your psyche as Ghanaians any understanding of politics no SSS parties na on say ye to abama wo mo ne wo nkrofo nkwa nkoche Ghana to say cake ni ntwitwa me say I disagree with it me kai say time e ba power na me I was suspended so I couldn't really make any intervention. But me to say health insurance, the secretaries in call. Hey, health insurance. That organization is a very important national organization dealing with the most intelligent people in the country, the doctors, the pharmacists, the nurses. Until you to me, so will be a regional secretary keke. Only background and don't go regional director of National Health Insurance. I've never agreed. In fact, they were disappointing me most. Nipe were in Kanasemti. Me and my dad for Professor Mills, sports in Tinam very close. And me and my dad for back on so we're free. Nancy. No, Oman Okoye, Ashanti Regional Director of Health Insurance. Yamaponko. Prof. We the one you need. I
don't say we young know said the name
me
say
minimum. Madam for minimum. Yeah, Kotoko for one run Kotoko no. Now how do you make him the regional of Ashanti region of health? Look at the doctors in Ashanti region, the professors in Ashanti region.
No, Obi baby say when your profession be and son when your name be.
Oh, yes, sir. You see, there's something ministerial, more management, common sense approach. But so what build the career a wow? Because me may public service into minimum hierarchy in the way I name my working a wow. It's not all in all, but it's an added advantage if you have it. So I'm going to make sure into the tinkering that the politicians are tinkering with your state establishment. Are there a hammy? Maybe or highways. Time I call so me chief executive. Chief executive for the Metias say Article 7 my president Kwai. So Odi will be back. But definitely that person has to be an engineer. And a civil engineer at that, especially in highways, because there's a civil engineering function. So Ubenya there, don't take somebody outside the organization.
No one you say no so can hunting and when no be on no fake title be nobody at all.
So say the require and say backward the Mentiasi. Ghana, what is this obsession with doctorates, Nancy? Mentiasi. Doctorates, look, when you start with your bachelor's more broad, into never be brave, but you don't go very deep. Uko masters, I know what take you area open. No one go deeper, so you do a thesis. Uko doctorate, you just take one, and so it doesn't make you anybody. People come to say, "Oh, a doctorate," just say,
we talk about health side now, because we young queer, then we say, "In a be and go for fake doctor."
Oh, there be fake doctor. Send America. Make sure say, "Will be earning the respect of the people," and then don't put misfits. And who said various presidents in the past who create organogram of certain organizations like GMPC, like TOR. We are no more MD, no more general managers. This is SNIT. They don't have deputy MDs. There was a reason. So MD no on the political leadership and general managerial direction. The general managers are technocrats. Grow up. Until Baba president, I feel pointing for general managers near there. Only need the institutional memory and knowledge of the institutional. It's wrong. Say Yama and Kolana Jumana. What will be their motivation? Because they say until no be saying or compare politics. Because now by I've seen some of the appointments and I've been said to myself, say, no, this is a demotivating factor to the public services. Because I'm Kofako school. Almost there. Obi wa Petroleum Commission, obi wa GMPC, why engineer, why exploratory, why say. Sisi okofa obi so me CEO. Na onyo bia ofi say ono bro no so. How does he respect the person? We've over politicized the public services. I think it is wrong. We should stop it. It is not the constitution, it is the presidents who are at fault. I don't believe in this constitutional amendment and all that. We are president now, you say me a president at Supreme Court. I won't exceed 11. It is a nipe free one, I won't replace. I don't need a constitutional amendment to change that. I would not replace. And I'm 70 years now. They should work till they cannot do it anymore out of health reasons and as any panel every. Because law there, and no now we are more experienced. Now we are giving presidents too much leeway to tinker with the Supreme Court.
Yes, baby, I would I'm paying for no any say I'm corporate institutions, so we are buying a juma, aban communicators no yi wo mo no de o ma kwahye ho
enu say enye kra
don't you think say no so ebema politics na san abo ewura
and I'm say enye kra when somebody is so visibly a political person and you put him in charge of corporate affairs of a state entity.
But
we know what corporate affairs is.
Obi so beka so mampanyin mahama ma young ones and so
on. It's not, don't talk about you. And Nana don't fielded more young people in his government than him. I'm telling you, go through it. Nabujina Pom, they were not even 40 when I was deputy chief of staff. Asensunum, Herbert Krapper, there are many examples. In fact, in Penfono were complaining, some of us felt, say, he had sidelined a lot of his colleagues who served with him in Kufuor's administration. They were the experienced people, experienced hands. In my view, if I was anywhere near the government at the time, if I had been general secretary, I would advise. I mean, people like Ananim were still strong. Ejeda Akonom with the experience. You need your own colleagues in cabinet. When you go to cabinet. I think he's being populist. Okay. He's being very populist. And yeah, there I saw yes. Ono kra de na say me hu na che ntibi ni enhye dan kasa. Me ma me wu ye na me say o mo bom nsan na che kakra. So oti a hu se me nsan ono ne papa hu ye. Tesa no haya na ne papa ye ko ho. Me ma me say ko nti me ken president. Me nsan ma ka che.
When you ga de hangu ma.
O mo munye dususu. Oh, until Ninsan no my. We hear your campaign. Oh, the bendy answer. Oh, engineer. So, until what judiciary so now they. And I may feel that one, I have a very, I wouldn't say romantic relation. My father was a judge. And Mishano, o Kokota, na mitika numbi. Na, no, you were law school. Makola Hono. Hona nane, you on the court one. Tibia Mkochana miti. I'm worried about the state of the judiciary now. Okay. So we should protect the judiciary, and they should also help themselves. They should help them. They should be fair, because once a unyako judiciary, you have security of tenure. Na Ghana for us, you propose to do. And to be a one position, no, Chief Justice and Nipa Penalty, no. Yana ama. But sometimes yes, politicians no account.
Me say, who to say, within a judiciary, because it will be chief justice position, almost
politicians no count. And then a critical problem.
How?
President Kufuor, he respected hierarchy. No time tinker with hierarchy. Very important, because these organizations have some order. So when you disturb order, now we hard minimum po. Okay. So because you should be able to trust any panel chief justice when you own by Supreme Court to be by it doesn't matter. You should let them feel that once you have that position, there's security of tenure to do the right thing. Don't do what I want. The American say, tell my president Kufuor be a president or my me press secretary, who see an MP free the tolerance. Ni kasaye ni buo ni historical perspectives that bring to things. By the most feared BNI director, Wabagana, a friend of Peter Namfuru, Ufrimun and say no dihine, wajirapa ho baby. Yeah. Oh, achichi inu had to mama kumkai said Tom Debi Akufuado, I beg bafa tips, so what did that? Edano, mina medina nati mekem. Ni chi on the headquarters, on the Abba, and we are come dear me to a Mikako 37, I'm a cotor pie, and an answer to Fanta, and a Fanta, and I'm the command on Sunday. Oma, Adiana maybe, yet now 3 minutes to midnight, no more releasing. See, uncle.
Somewhere you're doing.
So I tell them, say, statesman, I could publish it, Rollins, a beat, videos, be a real who side in some a dozen. So, ain't Omachi Nana, because one any publisher of Statesman. And she be a power. Nana, I attorney general. I feel you call national security a meeting. Sometimes not a year by IGP. We're free BNI IGP under Rollins. Dear by Kufuor Sano. na the way na nkofo so na mfu no be afu so nkofo manage na anti that me kai say that beside times near State House na renovate castle the started nkofo started was State House na me ni na do gina former president Nana say president who kasa but don't say president because of affection here a bomb within nkofo na nyese be a bonim but Clinton ne adisane you know na me ni then attorney general yigina form ho ena omo be committee timi sania me ni di nkomo kaka emu se Peter Namfuri na ebe
we show
o da bi so akwe wa chi ahedem ene say power ba ti na hwe nanim sa o say Namfuri o say yes sir also the coin has flipped. I will never forget that was another very interesting with these things. Also the coin has flipped. Just to tell you the transient nature of politics. Nti say futu no ihiyama ubia all politics mo. Ni hu say ubeba ubeko ubeba is how we treat each other, is how we treat ourselves. They're very important. Ti media they say ubusa me asembi. Ubia many share ideas biana meeting na ejuma. If I get the opportunity to be president, I think I'll be a very fine and effective president who has the vitality to deliver the transformation. But abade okoto nim de besi. Ubia party ni be ni bia me metani panichi. Me stress party for no omofa aba na mame. Masumku na che minim ni history. Grassroots mbisu na minimo. Ebinum kura hu mo ntimi nkai mu din. Me de minimum me no man nante from adubo hin time omo nya jide wo omo fa abanoma me ne enka party ni mum wo mo a tie ho akotena akire nti apathy a omo nipa ba 2 million ankoto abana me ne wo mo headmaster ye kan krofo ya silent on power because I was ostracized for the last 10 years only by God's glory ne me tu ani mu a me ne odi nkomo so enti wo mo hu se party na yeso mo yem fa bufuo omo de bufuo ka se mpese omo kire ade se nyina na abetena fi esa hadwin party no bitimi asom 2028 is very important. Ghana forces say they've settled into this 8 year ntina President Mahama kra edin ko fie kra sa kofa na ba e di 8 amano nti de oba win 2028 no 8 ndi obetwa say 4 e dey nim de ye twa se ya nhwe ye na manfa obi a nipa pe no party fo nim no na Ghana fo be gina tum na ni hosu ni nsem bebre a na se etofa ho a na je se ye di 8 e kan 4 ho 12 se wo di 12 kan ho age ho no bebre e wo de usa kaka e mu de na je se ye ko so when to make party for so whatever decision they make as a way should be at the back of their minds. You hear be a and kabom. They say to kwani be a also platform ni edit attempt. And yeah, it's too divisive. I do believe that we need a compromise candidate, somebody, and whether it was by design or by divine intervention. Last 8 years, na me campaign. I think Ghanaians will give me more of a benefit of the doubt. And they will trust what I'm saying because I wasn't part of the issues that they are worried about. And I sometimes even spoke against it, tried to advise. Timidie mesre party no. Niema bi wo so a kosoa na ehamekaka.
Okay.
Yenya conference we say ya me pese me commenting. But as a political party, SCS going forward. So voice vote na it doesn't have a place in our constitution. So person constitution, yes, 2/3 majority. Abna until we determine 2/3 from a voice vote.
Population level.
Ultimate determine. Say 2/3. Until any right. Yeah, no 209 near the years have polling station. Yeah, complaining. Yeah, I thought say by this time. SCS. Me too for say. Enka motions 50 na. Yeah, be di ho kita ho e wo conference. Constitution no say SCS the command party phone at the constituency level 1 month before the election. the Adekye no na raw proposals 300 no. And then nipa brought 300 proposals with me.
Then we just so man said and take you much.
It's an the man be ha. But me a party penny, I mean, pese, can you maybe be? But maybe so much.
So does it mean so say top to down approaching us when ninja one?
Me crowd them in tears, yes, I'm too dean. Top to down. Me, and I'm here first proposal on the 17th of April.
Okay.
The proposal was say, ye party for ano, and near my how one, in Tiumfu say, dear bufu, uncle Tuaba. Do no feel sad delegate system no enye.
Okay.
And my monetization we control by say man TV, we control by say man fridge, we control by say. Enti yemie mu no senke benya nka obia we card bearer a wetu any dues ento aba. And I me dwen say kasa within this short time. E betime bie ma nipa be 2 million abenya card e be ye den. Enti say ye be ne sade akiyemie mu ma wo mu a asom party no da from 1992 at the polling station level. Of course 92 ni any polling station ni use wards nti at the ward level abesi ne yemma constituency bia and set up what I call a constituency caucus and bring all former executives nipa no free mu nko an otiase no ahoden a o meka ho no mo meto aba me kan sa no ensem na me kan bebre no omo G2 nti former ministers, former deputies, former MPs, former DCs, no many ade nyina and former executives nyina say do omo ebeka. But omo nse dan no so. Omo edoso ene sa 555 polling station. Nti me ka say empese ekwa achire kra from 2010 a yes sign there. You were registered no. 2014 you were registered no. 2018 you register no. Apart from those who must survive all this the way no PFM omo na ya na omo te atena a independent candidate because who say MPs no obinya be MP mo say ya no EBFM or the Nkrofo Adehye nti wo mo film no na omo de amemremfe atifie eduru de to am so na mo am kotoma ba ono so wankwa na yire ne manyina enko enti me de adwinkyere ba se nka ye ma dadafo ni nyina emeto ko wi ase a omo se o maji ne mena tum na polling station there ye di 2 pe na beka na say 2 e there nti ho na be yi 2 no mo yesa na chese be ma the trouble aba enso so eja ye call council me kan bia omo se 2 na ye ba congress na stadium the obede team debate
he said voice no ye loud
obede team debate until there was no opportunity to do that any the FM na they hasan ha me kran say yes, it may be the sunset clause. Me Congress, no, it do be me free on them kakra because I wasn't happy with any money be.
Also free on mo be.
Me free on them kakra.
Okay.
Because I feel yes ni petu no they can on so. Yes, chance here to presidential ni be. Ah. Na say kwadwo no jira. Ade no mo pese mo no. I feel the most ade presidential and the most important election. Tie no there. You call council last time. Make council look. Polling station for yes, omo mandate in so ye. Omo so February ni January de. E kwan nwa. Enti me national executive committee me either say wo the 31st no ye okay. Me election dem pese ye nentem na free ho. Na party no mojo. But you me catch a polling station for so oh, we dey need dem. Nye se bia ye twa mo mandate no so. But ye pese mo to we no bi. Enti mo mienye polling station elections November and December. Na yenfa 2 no meka ho. Because 2 no times 40,000 80,000. This are 80,000 no meka ho. Na dey ebie na ebiem. So until end still I me feel say me can we general secretary and then party chair acting chairman Buti omonye ho.
Okay.
Na say omonye polling station for nkasa me nyini say polling station because say ebu afu. Enti yempene. Yenye polling station elections ye betimi aye na be November na December. Okay. Sana omo new 7 no and expanded in etimiato presidential no. Sa so etimia ye electoral area there no krana. Say once ya sansa electoral say it has to conform and align with the electoral commission for it, which is I think if my memory is right about 7,000 electoral areas. And also so yeah the 4 be kan one more my 5. That's 35,000. Nti ya anya no so 35,000 no so enka ho. Wo de ka 80,000 well over 100,000 we are disenfranchising them. Why are people uncomfortable say baby adi no? Minti ase. Ti mesre wo. Omo mi anyi ho. Na no de yakọ Congress bibia wi na nso so. Say ye do party no na ye gidi say pese ye bie niemem na nkrofo eye included. A sense of inclusivity. Say anya kra nkoso 92 at least the party no akọ Congress agia tumu de. Let's implement it now. Let's not wait till after the most important election. How say presidential na hu here o say no de ye ntwen ansa. Enti e ho de me ne omonya.
Onya de e chat on you also feel say the ekoso nyina de oni omonya adwene enso still a ekoso no. Do you feel say omo ye for a particular candidate?
One hwe yi a na ekoya kire sa.
Okay.
So who say election bia yeah this is not the first time. Me kai pa say ekoye meeting or teachers hall after 96 election. President Kufuor Peters penetempa National Executive Committee meeting na meeting bi. Emma na do raise objection.
So I'm
say baby I support no ba no hokra so na yeto aba yenya bi. Emma ni vote bi eteki offense kakra. So enti then incumbent obi a yedina koto aba de he has been our candidate yenyina kota nechi ene ewie. But people should accept that this is a new electoral cycle. Yen hihye ne mama obi a opese otubie no emfili say bibia ekoyie. So na enkoba se ground no ya tilted. They omo ye conference ni pepi ampe because sport a de ma ono nko so okokasa ye Dr. Baumia okokasa sa anko we no some of the aspirants in 85 they were not happy. Yes sir, you are placing somebody in an advantageous position. Sir no yes na
ono so ne panyina wo di monimu kan the past election.
But this is why we have a new electoral cycle.
So a former vice president.
The constitution is very clear. We are former vice president. You are a former vice president. You don't hold any executive
now
position.
Now you're former flag bearer and so
yes.
We need to know can say woman kasakra na.
Former flag bearer. Na say you be there. I'm a former flag bearer. We ankasa.
Some woman here.
There be there be pass say we are aspirant.
Okay.
Say and say uncle build here. It's different. Okay. But we are aspirant. You treat you na pepe. Na nyefe. Ye to aba. Na de dudu no de be ma no. Na obia timi akota kire de akoma pa. Na nti wo munyai niema bi a ekoye de nti a wo ka de wo ka. So I think say it's good and assembly da ho yenwaye ni yen ka no kre no. Me de me party na me som. Ye koni ko yi ni bi wa beta na chi. Ye ko yi mi so a me expect say ono so beta na chi. Sa na tie. Enti yen to ye bo. Na yen fa enkabom enuado. Na emu yen kai say apart from say be yi nipa no. Yen hwe de ne ko Ghana fo animu a likely say obetimi any or more confidence. Na obetimi asan atwe ye 2 million na free echi no kwa ne hia me to win back our lost flock. Okay. No munum say KAA kwabna jeje ponde. Ondo struggle bo.
Utim.
Me no man nanti ache omunni mi fitete.
Okay.
Omunni mi fitete nti omunwe me ho na omun kai me. Na me nti bi nwie we so a me mo bibi about me nua Charles Kodjofo so.
Okay.
Enura me ko chia na here. Me duru okra de no oye no. Because weeks before na my friend because Otibem always Lagos. My penny nyuma from Yankola Brema and then I fine so na say bi me costa na me so on tiapo de but na me nim se BBC bisi afunye mu pa ye edina nka emanya nkopon
yo me so me da se pass ye to yen safre wo na waba awusafo ha sei na beba makwa me ye de me ne engineer kwabena eje Japan komobo no ye de esi ye ma wutim kwan so ye wish well
na
me nka wo
na
me nim se etu menim say the next year beba no na wo beda delegates ase say omo ayi
o ma travel
what
nyame nshira wasem
no obusafo nti ye de si ase ye da ye ho aba ye ba pa ye ba be di Ghana ehon komo nti wadare man ko be bia ye beba sese